In this video, I will show you how to build the graphical user interface for the CreateContact activity. Firstly, we will add all necessary views to the layout, and then we will connect the views in coding. So what we want to do is, if the user clicks now on this button, we want to launch the CreateContact activity. So in order to do that, we need that activity first. So we're going to right click on our Java folder, and we're going to say New Activity, and we're going to go down to Empty Activity. And I'm going to call this one CreateContact. And you can just say Finish, and you can see there's our CreateContact. And then in the layout folder, we'll also have a CreateContact XML. So it opens up those two for us automatically. So in the CreateContact, let's quickly design how this one should look like. So we're going to go into text, and I'm going to change the relative layout again to a linear layout. If you choose it from the list, just make sure it's not linear layout. And then we're also going to add Android orientation property, and we're going to set it to vertical. And then I also want to have that background property again, so I'm going to say Android background. I'm going to set it to color, and it's going to be primary light. So if we go to design, that's basically our design for every single one of our activities at this stage. So just to make sure everything looks the same. Now the first thing that I want to do right at the top is I'm going to add a large text there, and that text will just be create new account. So let's just go to, or I think we're going to do the strings XML if we're done adding all the components. So we need a large text there, and then I'm going to use, we're going to ask the user to enter the contact's name. So I'm just going to use a plain text. Please enter your name, then please enter your surname again, and then we need an email address, so I can use the email field there, and then we need a cell phone number, so I'm going to use the phone one there. And then after those four, we can have a button then. So there's the button. We're going to have a button to create this new account. Okay, so a few things that we need to set up quickly. Let's add, for this one, we're going to add a margin at the top of 15 dp, just to move it down a bit, and for the button as well to the top of 15 dp. Okay, and then for all of these, I'm going to choose it using the shift button again. For all of those, we want to have a margin on the left of 30 and on the right also 30. Okay, so they are nicely aligned. Now for the button, we need to set the width to match the parent, and then we'll get it the same size as the other components. Okay, so basically that's setting the layout. Now for the button, let's just quickly go to the button, and then for the button we're going to add this property to say Android background, and we're going to say at drawable, and remember that we used a buttons XML file there to design all of our buttons. So then we have our button look the same as any other one of our buttons that we've created before. Okay, so the next thing now to go and do is to set up what each and every one of these will, or the hint will be on every one of these, as well as the text on that large text. So let's go into the strings XML. So we're going to go down. Let me just close a few of these. Go into your resources folder, going to values, and let's open up strings XML. Okay, so what we need to do then is to add a new string there. So we're going to say the first one will be new just leave it lowercase contact. Let's call it new contact header. And then we're just going to say create new contact. Let's just make the N also a capital, or uppercase N. And then we're going to go to string again, and for the rest it's going to be hints now. So it's going to be hint contact name, and we're going to ask the user enter contact name. And then the next one will be a hint for the contact's surname. So we're going to say enter contact surname. And then the next one will be a string hint contact email. We're going to say enter contact email. And then we're also going to have string hint, which will be contact cell. And we're going to ask the guy enter contact cell number. And then we are basically done for, I think, for this, because we can use for the button, we can also just use create new contact. So if we go to create contact, then again, let's set up the hints for those quickly. So you're going to go down to the hint property, and I'm going to choose hint contact. The first one will be the contact name. The second one will be a hint for the contact's surname. Third one will be a hint for the contact's email address. The fourth one will be a hint for the contact's cell phone number. Okay, so it's going to say enter contact name, surname, email, and cell phone number. And then on the button, we need to set the text. So we're going to go to the text property, and we called it new contact header. It's going to be create new contact, and for that one as well, the text will be new contact header. Okay, so that's basically what we've got. Create new contact. I'm going to make that one bold, so I'm going to say text style bold there at the top. And then for these, let's just center all of those quickly. Going to go to your normal gravity property. There's the gravity property, and we're going to set it to center horizontal, and then it's nicely centered. Okay, so we are basically done for this the layout part. So let's quickly set them up in coding. So for enter contact name, I'm going to set the ID for ET contact name. It's an edit text. For the surname, I'm going to set it to ET contact surname. And then for the mail, it will be ET contact mail. And for the cell phone number, it will be ET contact cell. And now you can see the IDs are all set up. And for the button, we're just going to create a new method in order to click this one. Okay, so we're going to go to, I'm just going to close down strings XML. We can go to CreateContact now. And let's set up those edit texts. So we're going to say edit text. The first one will be ET contact name. Then there's an ET contact surname. Then an ET contact mail. And we're going to have an ET contact cell. Okay, so those are the edit texts to connect to. So we're going to say ET contact name equals edit text, find the view by its ID, r.id. And that one will be ET contact name. Then ET contact surname will be also edit text, find the view by its ID, r.id.et contact surname. And then ET contact, the next one will be mail equals edit text, find view by its ID, r.id.et contact mail. And then ET contact cell is the last one, and that's going to be edit text, find the view by its ID, r.id.et contact cell. And then we've got all of those edit text set up in coding. So we've connected to 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and there you can see there's the 4 that we connected to now. Okay, so now the last thing that we need to do is to just quickly create a method for that button. So it's going to be btn create contact, and in brackets it needs a view v, and then we're going to do whatever we need to do in this method. So create contact, if you go back to the button, we can go to the button and set the onClick property to create contact. So there's btn create contact. And then we are basically set up for this specific activity. Okay, so we've got all of these components set up in coding as well as the button. So there's all the components, the button is set up. So we are basically now ready to start creating the coding for this create contact activity.